Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the weekly meeting.
Morning.
How's everyone doing?
Pretty good. I'm driving to Alaska right now.
Nice. What are you doing in Alaska?
So couple of things. I'm from there, and so I just had my retirement ceremony 2-3 weeks ago, and I'm actually driving up a camper right now. I've done this is like the 5th or 6th time I've done it over the couple of years. Is I just buy them at a decent rate down in the lower 48, take them to Alaska, make $10,000-$15,000.
Nice.
So I'm taking up 2 right now. I'll probably net 25,000 off of this. So it's a pretty lucrative business, but also the secondary reason is after I'm done getting my North Carolina license, I'm gonna go ahead and get my Alaska license as well. Both my mom, my dad, 3 of my sisters are all agents in Alaska under EXP. They're under Unity Group, I think. Anyway, so I want to do dual or multiple licenses. One in North Carolina by the Marine Corps base, one in Alaska, Air Force and Army base. And so I'm kind of going up there right now to sell the RVs, and then also to kind of meet some of the people up there and kind of see what I can learn from them, because I plan to spend the summer up there once my kids are out of school. And then the third reason is I'm looking to buy a fourplex up there. So multiple reasons.
Lots of stuff going on. That's it. That's an awesome situation because let me need the yeah, like for some reason these days you can make a profit on vehicles and campers. It kind of blows my mind. I was always told like a car is a depreciating asset. But my brother-in-law, he got out of the Air Force a few years ago, and he's just nonstop buying brand new vehicles, and then he like modifies them a little bit and then turns around and makes a profit. So some of the vehicles, some of the trucks, and this is in Tucson, so not really like a place like Hawaii where if you move a vehicle out here, you can make a profit just because of the scarcity, because we're on an island. But yeah, pretty cool way to make some money and have fun. All right, so today we're gonna be talking about the basics of creating a schedule. So when I was in the Marine Corps, a good chunk of my time in my squadron, I worked in the operations department where you're just nonstop writing schedules. And even though that was like my routine, that's like all I did. I went from being a daily schedule writer, where you're literally just writing the schedule for the next day, getting it signed off by people. I went from that to being weekly and then monthly. And so I had the skills to create a schedule, but I didn't really have, and like because of that, like my everyday schedule was already written, and it was basically already dictated for me. But when I was getting out and I had to have the self-discipline to create my own schedule, I actually struggled a little bit with finding a groove to follow, because it was just all the responsibility was on me. And so for some people who go from just having the schedule told to you and then just doing it, it can be even more challenging because you don't know. Sorry, I'm just looking at Conrad's note. New interns who just started yesterday. Okay. Got a couple of new folks in here, Brianna Para and a few others, but yeah, anyways, so it can be really challenging like figuring out like right now I'm in this skill bridge program. I don't have somebody looking at me 24 hours a day, telling me what to do, like what do I do with my time. And it can be kind of freeing, but at the same time kind of you feel like you have no direction because you're used to having somebody telling you what to do every hour of the day. But now you're just an adult out in the free world trying to figure out life. So we're going to go over some of the basic techniques and tools that you can use so that you can be effective with your time. A couple of weeks ago when we had Mary Maloney on the show, she was talking about how the importance of scheduling, and then there's lots of techniques that you can use when you're building your schedule. Like one of the most effective ones is building it kind of backwards planning. I'm sure you guys have heard that term before in the military. So, all right, we have a mission we need to do. The mission's going to be accomplished on May 31st. And so we need to backwards plan all the way to loading. So, or staging. So the mission day is the 31st. That means by the 30th, we need to have everything ready in place. So we just need to move it from A to B. That means by the 29th, we need to, have trucks moving stuff or making their final moves. And then day before that, we need to make sure everybody does their, pre-inspections, whatever, so on and so forth, all the way to, all right, today's the 23rd. So tomorrow we're going to do rehearsals of how we're going to do everything. And so applying that and taking that idea and transferring it to real estate, you take your goals. And so that's where, again, I'm sure you've all heard how important it is to have goals. You take your goals, all right, military pay with BH, all that stuff, whatever your current lifestyle is. Like if your goal is to at least maintain that in your first year in real estate, then you find that number. Like you look up what your pay grade is, what your pay is for BH, roughly what insurance will cost, all that stuff. If you're not going to get your insurance covered by the VA once you get out, all that. And so you find that number, let's say it's 100,000. And then so that's 100,000 a year, break it down, and again, backwards planning. So 100,000 divided by 12 months. So that's, roughly $8,000, $8,000 per month. All right. So in order to make that amount of money, I need to close at least X number of deals. So whatever the average amount for a commission in your area. So single family home in Hawaii is $1 million. A condo is about $500,000. So in your area, if it's, $200,000 or whatever it is, you find out what that number is, multiply it by 2.5%, because that's the typical commission on a property when it's being sold. And then you take that number. So on $1 million, that's 25K. And so 25,000. So if I wanted to meet my goal of $100,000 here, that means just one transaction per month, and I'm already, or really one every 2 months. But anyways, figure out what that number is for your area. And then, okay, I need at least one commission. Okay, how do I get one commission? Or I need to get one person to, buy or sell a house. How do I get that one person? Or I need to have at least, 5, because just the way the numbers work, you might talk to 10 or 15 people. They say, oh yeah, I want to buy a house. And then, you pair them up with a lender, and you realize, oh, out of those 15 people, only 10 of them are actually qualified, actually able to take on the financial burden of buying a house. And then out of those 10 that are capable of buying a house, you realize after talking with them, they're like, oh yeah, I was thinking about buying a house, but it's a lot of stress for me, so I don't want to do it anymore. And then boom, there goes another 5. So now you're down to 5 out of those 15. And then for whatever reason, the other 5, another 4 of those drop out. So now you're down to 1, maybe 2 out of those 15 people that were interested in buying. Now you only have 1 or 2. I have a question here. 2.5% actually what we receive. Aren't there other pieces of that broker? Yeah, exactly. So thank you for bringing that up, Lewis, because yes, so in Hawaii, 25K is the commission. If you're capped, you'll get that full amount, minus a couple minor fees for E&O and all that other stuff. But when you're not capped, and when you're a brand new agent, so again, that's why there's multiple techniques and you can get really into the details with it. And it's really, I highly recommend doing that. So you're not, getting to the end of your year and you're like, I'm not anywhere near. I did everything I was supposed to, and I'm not anywhere near where I thought I would be. But yes, so quick coverage of the fees when you're starting out. EXP is 80/20 until you cap. Cap is 16K. So that would be the equivalent of about 4 transactions that are $1 million each in order to cap. And then after that, you've paid the 16K to EXP, and now 100% commission is to you. If you're a brand new agent, then there's also the mentor fee, which is an additional 20%. So for your first 3 transactions, you'll actually be 60/40. And so that 25K on $1 million, it really whittles down to about 14K, rough math. And so, yeah, you can do all that math and figure out exactly where you need to be, what you need to be producing in order to reach your goal. So back to, yeah, so you have two people that are interested and they're capable of buying a property. So now you need to figure out, so you've done the calculation that out of the 15, you're going to be whittled down to 1 or 2. So how do you get those 15 people that are interested in buying? All right, I need to have at least 30 conversations a day with people, or I need to be cold calling, or whatever it is you're doing. You can break it up into time blocks. So if it's just talking to people, you're gonna like walk around the mall, or go back to your old unit, or go on Facebook, talk to people, whatever it is. Set aside a certain amount of time, and after just like a week of doing it, or whatever means you're looking at doing, you can get data on how all right, if I reach out to 50 of my old friends, 10 of them will be at all interested in talking about buying, and then 5 of those will be the ones that are like actually interested in buying. And so and that takes me, in order to talk to 50 people, I can do about 10 a day to have like an actual sincere conversation with them. So then 10 a day times 5 days a week. So I need to set aside this block of time, 10 minutes per conversation. So that's 100 minutes. You can see how you can work that out into your schedule. But so that's one of the approaches, like taking like breaking down in great detail, going from your end of the year goal back to what am I doing on a daily basis to work towards that goal. But starting out for me, like I was just like, I just need to just take action. Like my goal is to make it here in Hawaii. Mortgage is over $4,000 a month. On top of that, car expense of $600 a month, and then other random things. And so I was just like, I just want to take a lot of action and just see where it takes me. So I just started off just writing out my schedule so that I could at least feel productive at the end of the day. Because at first I kind of was just, sitting here clicking through trainings and stuff and not really feeling like I was going anywhere. And so that's why I recommend, if you're kind of in that position, just kind of figuring out how to write your own schedule, I recommend just starting with a piece of paper, like just writing out, like, all right, tomorrow I'm going to do my workout in the morning, and then I'm going to do 3 hours of prospecting, whatever prospecting looks like to you. And then after that, I'm going to work on my CRM. In your CRM, if you're not already licensed, it might look like a Excel spreadsheet where you're just keeping track of your friends that you've talked to, doing that A through Z in your phone contacts. And then in the evening, I'm going to read a book about real estate investing or about doing business as a realtor. One of the books I recommend is Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And so you make that your last part of your day, like expanding yeah, right there, Andrew Mitchell. Thank you for sharing that. And so you structure your day, and I recommend just keeping it as simple as possible. Like literally what I just said: gym, prospecting for 3 hours, working on, so in your business in the morning, working on your business in the afternoon, working on that CRM, seeing if you made any notes about following up with anybody. And then at the end of the day, read a book, like literally that simple. And then over time, you'll see like, all right, I can start working in these other little things into my schedule, but just start right there with the basics. And again, start with a piece of paper, because my scheduling kind of evolved over the time that I was in the program, and then beyond that, I started off with this moleskin planner. You can get these for I think like $20 on Amazon. And I'll actually share my screen here so you can see what I'm talking about. Can everybody see that? All right. So I started off with this moleskin planner, yeah, $18. And so you can see for each week, it has just like a blank section for the day. And at first it kind of worked for me because I was, just figuring out how to do this scheduling thing for myself instead of for a squadron of 300 people. And so I started out just with a really small pen writing it. You can't really tell, but right here, it's like hour or even like half hour by half hour what I was going to be doing. And it kind of worked for me at first. And then after a little while, I kind of got sick of it, or I got out of my groove of using that. And also I was kind of going through the motions. Like I'd miss something, and at the end of the day, I'd check mark things that I did, cross out things that I didn't do, all that stuff. But ended up needing something that was a little more like if something changed, then I'd cross it out. It just became like kind of a jumbled mess. And so I went from that moleskin planner to this Christmas gift that I got. It's called the Savvy Fox or something. It's this one right here I'm sharing, Clever Fox. And so I like this one a lot, and I ended up using it until I filled it in all the way. Trying to show you guys what it looks like on here. So you can see it has like hour by hour. And so and I kind of started doing like the color coordinating thing, highlighting things to kind of match my Google Calendar as well, blocking off certain periods of time, all that stuff. But then I had all this other extra space, and has great stuff on there around the border. You can see it on the right here. Goals for the week, work-life balance, these different things you're going to do, health, fitness, personal development, all that stuff. All great little tools around the edge, but I realized like I was just not using it at all. And it kind of makes you feel like you're kind of makes you feel like a sense of guilt that you're not using all these other things that you could be using. And so you kind of like takes away from your desire to fill out this type of planner. If you have the drive to do all this stuff on a weekly basis, and then set aside time to do your weekly review, look at these things, the week's wins, what made you happy, how I'll improve, lessons learned. So if you have the discipline to do that, and you have the desire to do a weekly reflection like that, then maybe this is a great planner for you. But then once I filled in that entire planner, and it's also kind of a large book. It's probably 13 inches by 10 inches or something. So kind of hard to take around everywhere with you. And then the other one, so it's like a balance between too small and too big. The other one was a little too small because I was having to use 0.5 size, 0.5 millimeter pen to write in that thing for it to be legible. And then I finally came to this, which is about the size of a regular notebook that you'd use in school. But the daily, and I'll show you on here, the daily breakdown, it's just hour by hour. And so I was like, this is perfect. Like it does have this little resolutions review, like a weekly review in the corner, but for the most part, it's just hour by hour. Or actually it starts off like 30 minutes by 30 minutes. And that allowed me to just have better clarity, because then I could write in there in full size letters what I was going to be doing each hour or half hour of the day. And it didn't have all the extra stuff around the border that I didn't use. So again, just to rehash, find something, start off with paper, like literally just a scrap of paper. You don't have to, spend 30 minutes shopping around planners. Just start with a piece of paper. Like, right, tomorrow, this is what I'm going to do. And then once you get kind of comfortable with that, then invest in a planner. Get something that's convenient to carry around with, so you have it with you at all times, because you go to the gym or you go to get groceries, whatever, and you run into somebody there, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm actually in the real estate business now, and you want to sit down and talk about real estate sometime, and you're like, oh crap, let me go grab my planner real quick. Or you might even get in the habit of just having it with you. If it's really that convenient to carry, you might just have it with you all the time. You break it out right there, write down the time, date that they're available to meet, and then boom, you don't forget about that event. And it also helps with just like having that mental picture in your head of your schedule, because if you're just completely digital, it just doesn't happen the same way. And so when you're just in conversation with somebody and you don't break out your planner or your phone to look at your calendar, you might start over or double booking events. All right, any questions on that so far? Any feedback from anybody on techniques that they've used with paper planners, or just keeping it simple?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I want to get in Zoa. It's about my iPhone that I normally use. I do have some kind of calendar there. It has a calendar that you just go in, like today, the 23rd, I go in and I list up all my things all my appointments and so on and so forth. And again, it's very small, mobile, it's already with me. So as soon as I know that I have an appointment with somebody, the next thing I do, I jump on my phone, bam, bam, bam. Okay, hold on, let me see if I'm free on that time. Oh, you want to meet on Wednesday at 2:00? Hold on 1 second, let me find out if I'm going to be available. Boom, I get into my phone and take a look at it. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I can't do 2:00. Can we do 4 p.m.? Because at 2:00, I already have an appointment somewhere elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? So it's my handy dandy tool that is doing for me all what your planner is doing. So I don't know, you're going to have to convince me a little more as to why I would have to deviate from this handy dandy tool that I already have, because it's doing all what I need. Medical appointments, customer appointments, open house appointments. You know what I'm saying? If I have an appointment, if I have a mentorship training, the skill bridge, even this training that we have on right now, I have it there. And it would also blink. It will also alarm. It will alarm on me. Oh, it's time. I set it up to remind me like the day before and like the day off, like 30 minutes to action, or maybe one hour to action. It will remind me, hey, in 1 hour, you have this appointment. Boom. You know what I'm saying? So it's a handy dandy tool that I've been using for a while now, and it's been working for me. So for me, it's going to be very challenging, very difficult for me to deviate and switch over to something, because hands down, it's been 100% good. That's all I have.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to convince anybody to switch from digital to go back in Stone Age, etching stuff into stone. I'm just saying the evolution of having a schedule, of just like actually understanding how to create a schedule, and then starting with the basics, because when I was first starting out, yes, I wanted to get into, and we will get into that, using Google Calendar, because it's incredibly useful and powerful tool. I wanted to start off with that, but I was like, how do I even make a Google Calendar? Like, I don't even know how to do that. Like, I'm going to write something on my schedule so that I can set aside time to look up YouTube videos on how to create a Google event. And then it just never happened. And so this is just definitely the end state, is to use digital because of how convenient it is, and it integrates with, your smartwatch. But the thing is to not become desensitized to that. But yeah, definitely not saying paper is where everybody should go. I'm saying this is a good way to start, to like get in the groove of having a schedule. But I definitely do think it's important to have paper on top of a digital schedule, because if you drop your phone in the pool or the toilet, whatever, if power goes out, something like that, there goes your schedule, and you're like, oh crap, I don't know what I'm doing. Somebody hacks your email account, and you don't have access to it anymore, and you have a client that you're supposed to meet with, but you don't know what time. Like, yeah, you can call them, but it's like kind of seems unprofessional when you're like, oh yeah, what time we're supposed to meet? I don't have my calendar in front of me, whatever. But yeah, so that's the evolution of having a schedule, going through planners, all that stuff. But again, yeah, keep it simple. And then when you're transferring to digital, you again want to keep it simple so that you don't, like I said, become desensitized to notifications. So now I'm going to quickly show you guys how to create, so you don't have to go on YouTube and figure out how to do this. I'm going to show you live right now how to create an event on Google Calendar. All right, so here we are, Google Calendar, and you can see there's lots of features, lots of buttons all around the screen. The different things that you can use. You can have multiple calendars, so like you can have your work calendar, your fun calendar, all that stuff, and then you can activate all of them, and you can see it can get pretty complicated. But keeping it simple, I'm just going to show you guys how to create an event. So I created this. So if you see this little plus sign right here, add other calendars. So I clicked on that, and then I did create new calendar, and I created the SkillBridge Realtor calendar, so I can just have this blank calendar to look at. Now I'm going to create a weekly event for this meeting. So I just click 8 o'clock, boom, it automatically selects that time. You can also slide it around if you want to, block out a bigger chunk of time for whatever the event is. Boom, you write it right in the title. And then you can choose between event, task, appointment, schedule. It's an event, so I'm going to do that. And there's different features. You can research into this stuff later, but like task, it'll integrate with different apps and stuff, and it'll be like a check off type thing. You can look in that stuff later, but this is just how to create events. So event, you select the time, find a time that'll allow you to email other people, add guests, all that stuff. More options. You click on more options. This is the best view, and this is pretty much what it'll look like on your phone as well. You can do all day or does not repeat. If you hit the does not repeat button, it brings up these other options. Weekly on Tuesday, monthly on the 4th Tuesday. So it just kind of like offers you different options based off of the day and time that you chose. It's a weekly meeting, so boom, weekly on Tuesday. Location, you can type something in there, but because it's a GPS little box, if you put something in there, it'll want to associate with a physical location. You can just leave it blank for that. Add notification 10 minutes before, and then you can add another one. You can do like day before, whatever you want to do. And you can, like it shows here, you can also do email notification. I don't recommend doing that because then you just have a million emails. Do days, it's like one day before, or because maybe it's an event where you need to do some kind of preparation, and so you add in a day prior notification. SkillBridge Realtor internship, this is the calendar that I'm putting it on. Colors, again, keeping it simple. Don't go crazy with all kinds of different colors. One of the techniques is to green is money making activity. Red or purple, whatever you choose, is like family time. And then yellow is, me time, just working out or meditating, reading the Bible. And then, I would say like 4 colors max, and kind of making those colors, whatever color works for your brain, the big rocks and then down to the little rocks, so that when you look at your calendar on your Google Calendar on your phone or on your computer, you can visualize like, right, I have this important activity because this is my money making activity. I can move this other thing around so I can keep that thing in place instead of double scheduling during my green time. There's a notification of another event. And then down here, the busy or free. So when you share your calendar with other people, they'll see if it's a busy time, like when they cannot request that time to work with you, or free time. It'll also integrate with other apps like Calendly, where clients or friends, family can reserve time on your schedule through that application. But if you mark it off as busy time, then it won't allow them to request that. And then default visibility, if you want everybody to be able to see it, or if you want private, so that you have date night with my wife, it'll just show up as busy instead of date night. And then down here, this is where you describe like what you're actually going to do. So instead of, all right, for 4 hours tomorrow morning, I'm going to be prospecting, and that's all you have on your calendar. And here you might put those things that Mary Maloney was talking about. I'm going to do 3 Facebook posts, 3 comment on 3 other posts, whatever other things are, like put the detail in there, so that when that time comes, you're not just like, all right, it's prospecting time. What am I doing? I'm going to search about what things I can do on prospecting. You can already have your plan right there built in. And so after you already put all that stuff in there, boom, you hit save. You can invite other people. So like, you guys have partners in the program, so you can add guests to that event, and then it'll send them a little calendar invitation for that. And then that's it. Save. Boom. It's on your calendar. And then you can always modify it by double clicking, hit the pencil, delete it, email it to somebody else. Lots of options. But you start off with that. And again, keep it simple. Gym time, prospecting time, follow-up time, and then reading time, and then bed. And similar to going from the small planner, big planner, back to like a smaller planner, I started off pretty simple, and then I started and have just way too many events on there, and I've become kind of desensitized, and so now I'm whittling back to the basics, because like one of the things that I like on there that to somebody else might seem minute, that doesn't need to be on there, is a reminder to just do a 5-minute breathing, because you can go through your day just like nonstop busy, phone calls, especially when you're working with multiple clients, phone calls, emails, you forget to eat even. And sometimes it's nice to just have that reminder. You look at your watch or whatever the notification is, a 5-minute breather, and you just take a few minutes to just breathe, and just deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, and just appreciate this great life that we live. And so, yeah, keep it simple, and don't become desensitized from putting too much stuff on there. Josh Davis, you have a question?
Well, I just wanted to add, I've been using Google Calendar for some time, and not only is it good just as a calendar, as you pointed out, but because of the way it's set up, my wife and I are able to share our calendars. So she has her individual one, I have my individual one, but you're able to put them both on there to where I can see what's going on with the kids, or she can see when I'm available. So it helps our communication when we're trying to plan something.
Yeah, that's a great point, because as you get more busy and you start to forget about like the family time and stuff, it can wear down a lot on your your marriage, your just mental health, because you're just consuming all your time with work. But if you're integrating schedules like Josh is saying, then that'll prevent you from overlapping, and it'll like remind you to keep first things first, keeping your family first. And so when you look at your calendar and you're deciding to either book an appointment on Saturday morning when you're supposed to go play or go do a hike with the family, it'll make that mental muscle memory to put family first. And so it'll just help in the long run with not getting burnt out. Any other questions or contributions on that? Okay. I'm going to quickly, it's kind of redundant, but I'm going to quickly show you guys on iPhone how to create an event. Can everyone see my iPhone screen? No?
No, it's not showing.
How about now?
No, still not showing.
Mhm. All right. How about now?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, good.
All right. So as you can see, the event that we created is right there on the screen. And so same thing for creating events, use tap, hold, type in the name of the event, select the time, more options if you want to make it repeat. It's a little bit more confusing on the phone because if you do the full display on the computer, it's a lot easier to see the different options. But so it does not repeat. If I tap on that, it brings up, do I want to repeat every day, every week, whatever it is. Add people if you want to invite people, video conferencing, add description, and that's where you would describe, I'm going to do 3 whatever, and then 3 more whatever, etc. And that's it. And then you hit save, and the event shows up. And that's my full calendar. But so that's how to do it on iPhone. So now you know how to do it both on digital and paper. Any questions, anything people want to contribute on their experience with creating their own schedule? When Josh Davis asked, let's see in the comments, feel free to unmute if you have a question or drop a message in the chat box. Another good app for a daily planner is called Structured. It helps me meet timelines and day-to-day tasks because it sets a timer for each listed item. 10 out of 10 recommended for beginners who are new to planners. Hope this helps. Yeah, that's great. So you're saying that it you have to allot a certain amount of time and then it alerts you when you've exceeded that time, Mary?
Yes, it does. So the app I use is structured and I was like kind of new to it and I'm used to the physical planners, the paper ones. So since I moved to the app version of it, it basically you put in the task on which you want to complete and you allot the X amount of time. So it has a 15-minute, 30-minute, all the way to 2 hours. And then it basically has like a reminder like, hey, you have 15 minutes left in this, or this event starts in 5 minutes, start preparing for it. And it goes by the hour. And then if you have like a blank space within your day, it'll tell you, hey, you have 4 hours of blank space, figure out something to do. So I find that very helpful. It also is very helpful because I stay on top of it. So I feel like that is the only way to really utilize a planner in the best way possible is if you stay on top of it. Like I would put my random hobbies of just like, okay, time to head home or time to wake up. Like I put in the everything I could possibly think of. So I won't just be like, okay, I have this main thing. No, let's add everything within the day. So I'm on time. I developed a schedule and my sleep schedule doesn't get messed up from procrastinating. So I find that very useful. And I hope this app is useful for others who decide to look into it. you can get it on the App Store. It's free. You don't have to pay for anything. So hope that all helps.
Yeah, thank you for that. That sounds really useful. A couple things you mentioned, like setting a reminder to go to sleep, because I've found myself, you can either be working or scrolling through social media. At the end of the day, you're just burnt out. You do your reading and then you're like, all right, I'm gonna check my email one last time. Before you know it, you're on your phone for an hour. And so yeah, having those reminders for like going to bed, but also having the timing associated with it. So maybe you just absolutely have to check your phone before you go to bed. So you can use this app to set a timer. All right, I'm going to limit myself to 10 minutes of scrolling. And then as soon as the timer goes off, listen to it, go to bed. So you have that good night's rest, wake up the next day ready to get after it again. Has anyone used Calendly? I have used Calendly. It's a great tool. You can set up lots of different events. So you can say like buyer consultation, and you have certain times throughout the week that you set aside for that. And then so you can send out a link for that type of event to buyers. And then, hey, let's set up a time to Zoom or have a phone call. And then they can go in the calendar instead of going back and forth like, hey, how's Tuesday at 2 p.m.? Oh no, I'm busy during that time. How's Wednesday morning? I'll be, prospecting during that time, and going all that back and forth. You can just send them your calendar, that Calendly link, and they just reserve a time. You get an email notification, and it automatically goes onto your Google Calendar. Yes, it's a great tool. Luis Albon was saying, yes, I think it's great for clients to access your schedule. Calendly offers free live webinars on how to use it. Yep. Lots of great stuff out there, but it all starts with just actually having a schedule, and try not to, because there's so many tools. If you like spend 30 minutes researching, you can get overwhelmed with how many things are out there. But just for now, start with actually having a schedule, and then you can build up from there. And that is about all we have for today. Any questions about anything we talked about? Studying for real estate, getting your license, anything?
I had something. I was kind of in and out during it. I apologize, driving through the Montana mountains. But I kind of wanted to comment on the use of electronic calendars versus handwriting. And I just kind of wanted to make a recommendation if no one made one while I was out. And that is, I actually highly recommend using both. I'm sure you all talked about the electronic benefits of it. You can connect to Zoom meetings, you can connect to other calendars, so on and so forth. But what I mean by using both of them is something I learned while I was on recruiting duty. For those who have done recruiting duty, I'm sure they understand this, and that is the use of like the method of using a schedules and results in SNR. And so basically, utilize one of your calendars. I use my phone, for example, to establish my calendar for the week, the month, and that's the stuff that doesn't really change. It's the stuff that, and I can add to it. And then I will follow up later on in the evening, sometimes every 2 to 3 days, I'll follow up and write it into a paper calendar. And it's kind of seems like it's double the work, but really what it does, it provides you redundancy. So if something happens to your phone, it gets wiped, or whatever the case may be, you have that paper copy. And vice versa, you lose your calendar, you still have your electronic copy. What it allows you to do by writing it down is it allows you to go back and evaluate the effectiveness of your planning. And it worked really well for me on recruiting. It's worked well for me in the military, in operations. It just being able to schedule something out and then go back and look at the things that I've scheduled over the last month, quarter, whatever, and find out, was my planning effective? Where can I adjust? And where should I focus more on, if that makes sense? And that's my 2 cents that I wanted to put in regarding scheduling.
Thank you for that, Alex. Yeah, that's a great point. One of the things, I watched an entire class on KPIs, key performance indicators. And so basically what Alex just talked about, you have data on what you did. Was it effective? Did you actually do it? All that data on your personal effectiveness. And then you can go back and improve on that. And so I'm sure when Alex was starting out with recruiting, maybe there's some things that he was doing that were really great and lots great return on it. And then other things that weren't so great, like, standing in front of a McDonald's and, in your uniform, probably not a good way to recruit people to the Marine Corps or whatever, or to find people to buy and sell homes. And so you have that data, you look at your calendar, okay, I spent 3 hours doing this activity and I only got one person out of it the entire week. So let me adjust that a little bit. Or I put this thing on my calendar to do it and never actually did it. So that's that review you can do at the end of the week to assess how you did and find those KPIs, key performance indicators. Because then that'll help with color coordinating your schedule or whatever technique you use. So you can just continually build until you're just a machine. You don't even have to think. You pull up your calendar or your CRM, whatever it is, and you just start taking action. And it provides like a clear pathway, because at first you're like, what does it mean to find clients? I don't know when my first commission is going to be. Like, this is really weird, going from I get paid every 2 weeks to now I don't know if I'll ever get paid. And having that system, that paper and digital weekly system, it really helps to smooth it out and give you that clear view of the future. Ricardo Gomez said some notebooks, written calendars give you the option to write your weekly, monthly, yearly goals. It's a good way to keep these goals in front of you and remind you. Yeah, that's a great point. I think, both of these other two planners that I showed you guys, they do have like in the back sections like that for my overall goal, weekly goal, quarterly goal, all that stuff. And it definitely helps to remind you, so that when you're, after a long week and you're thinking about what you're doing the following week, it's not just like, I don't know if I can keep on doing this forever. You look at your goals and you're like, oh no, I'm not doing this forever. I'm just doing this for 10 years or whatever the number is. I'm working towards this goal. And so it helps you to just be able to stomach it all so you don't get burnt out.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Zoa. I think you're right. And again, Alexander, that's a good point too. It's always good to have a backup plan. If I may add, if anyone chose to use their iPhone, I would advise that you sync it up with your MacBook. Like, it's the same thing I did too. Like right now, in fact, as soon as we were on this class, I just saw a reminder popped up on my laptop as well. You know what I'm saying? Say, hey, don't forget at 1300, you have an appointment coming up. You know what I'm saying? So again, in the event your phone gets stolen or what have you, you have that information on the laptop as well. You can just, piggyback on the laptop and say, okay, let me get to the calendar and see what's going on next, and so on and so forth. That's all I want to add.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Hope you guys learned something today. And I'll stick around for a few more minutes. Others aside from that, thanks for coming. Have a wonderful week. Aloha.
Have a good one, Zor.
See you, Andrew.
What squadron were you with, Zor?
HMH 463.
Okay. Is that That's not Scarface.
No, Pegasus.
Pegasus. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Scarface
I was.
is our-
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought, because I was a crash crew in Hawaii. So
Oh, no way.
yeah, that's what I just retired from, is crash crew. So I miss it. We lived in Hawaii 4 years, and yeah, best time of my life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you should come back. Getting licensed.
I'm actually thinking about it. I'm really liking I like real estate. Like I told you earlier, my whole family pretty much does it. And it's kind of turning into a family business, but it's also